It's time to talk Broncos, which means it's time to talk to Mike-Klis, who broke the news earlier today, Mike, that Von Miller is at the team's facility.
Yes, from what I understand, Vaughn, as we know, very friendly sort, said hi to teammates. Coach Vic Fangio met George Paton, the new GM, for the very first time today, from what I understand. Of course, they got a lot of business to talk about here in the next 8 days, namely whether to pick up that $7 million option. I think that's what it comes down to for George Paton. I don't see a restructure right now after the J.J. Watt deal. I don't see that the Broncos can diminish Vaughn's contract to his satisfaction. I think either they pick up that $7 million option and pay him $18 million this year, or they decline that $7 million option and he becomes a free agent. Right now, I think they're still discussing it. A decision will come later this week.
Mike, 1 week from today is a big day, a huge day when free agency begins. Now, we all knew John Elway, he'd swing big. Sometimes he'd miss, sometimes he'd hit home runs. What do you think George Paton's going to be like? How will he compare to Elway in that GM role?
Well, so far he's made a couple of no-brainer decisions and clearing cap space by releasing the veterans and the expense of A.J. Boye and Jarrell Casey. We'll see what he does with Von Miller. Tough decision. Kareem Jackson is going to be a tough decision. Philip Lindsay, whether to give him a second-round tender or an original tender where teams can match, and maybe he would be vulnerable to leaving. So he's got some tough decisions in-house first. But I do think George Paton's going to spend. Maybe not quite make the splash as Elway used to do, but Paton is going to spend, if for no other reason as they have a lot of needs, especially on defense. They've got to get a cornerback in free agency. They've got to get a defensive lineman in free agency. A couple other spots, too. I think he'll spend, maybe not the big name. And, of course, quarterback, too.
Yeah, there's a big one out there, that's for sure. Got to make these Broncos better than they've been. All right, Mike, thank you very much.